Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm diving into the world of fuel. Specifically, I'll be comparing the calorific values of different types of fuel we can use for heating. We'll be looking at wood, coal, pellets, and briquettes, and I'll be showing you exactly how much heat energy you can expect from each one. We'll be talking about BTUs per pound and megajoules per kilogram, so stick around to find out which fuel packs the biggest punch. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the world of fuels, specifically looking at the calorific value, that's the amount of energy released when a fuel burns of different types. We are on page 9 of our fuel exploration, so buckle up. Let's start with bioethanol. Now, bioethanol is a fascinating fuel source because it's renewable and it can be produced in a few different ways. The most common methods involve using either sugar and starch or lignocellulose. When we talk about sugar and starch, we are talking about things like corn, sugarcane, and even sugar beets. These crops are harvested, and the sugars and starches are extracted and fermented to produce ethanol. The process is relatively straightforward, and the resulting ethanol can be used as a motor fuel, either on its own or blended with gasoline. The calorific value of ethanol produced from these sources is pretty consistent, though it does vary slightly depending on the specific feedstock and the production process. We are talking about a significant energy output, making it a viable alternative to fossil fuels. Now, let's talk about the other major source of bioethanol, lignocellulose. This is where things get a little more complex. Lignocellulose is the structural component of plants, found in things like wood chips, agricultural residues, and even dedicated energy crops. Extracting ethanol from lignocellulose is a more challenging process, requiring pretreatment steps to break down the complex structure of the plant material before fermentation can occur. But the payoff is huge, because it opens up a much wider range of feedstocks for bioethanol production. This means less reliance on food crops for fuel, and a more sustainable approach overall. The calorific value of lignocellulose-based ethanol can be slightly lower than that of sugar and starch-based ethanol, but the environmental benefits often outweigh this difference. And finally, let's briefly touch on bioethanol's role as a motor fuel. It's a significant player in the renewable energy sector, offering a cleaner burning alternative to gasoline. Different countries have different blends and regulations regarding bioethanol in motor fuels, but its use is steadily increasing as we strive for more sustainable transportation options. The calorific value, coupled with its renewable nature, makes bioethanol a key component in the transition towards a greener future. We'll be exploring the specifics of motor fuels in much greater detail in future videos, so stay tuned. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are diving deep into the world of fuels, specifically looking at their calorific values. We are on page 9 of our fuel exploration, so buckle up. Let's start by talking about something that unites many of these fuels, their ability to release energy when burned. This energy release is what makes them useful for heating, cooking, and powering engines. But the amount of energy released varies wildly depending on the type of fuel. That's where the calorific value comes in. It's a measure of how much heat energy is released per unit of mass when a fuel is completely burned. Think of it like this: some fuels are energy powerhouses, while others are more modest. Now, let's talk about briquettes. These are compressed blocks of fuel, often made from sawdust, wood chips, or other biomass materials. The compression process increases their density, making them more efficient to store and transport. But the calorific value of a briquette depends heavily on the materials used to make it. A briquette made primarily from hardwood will have a higher calorific value than one made from softwood, for example. It's all about the composition. You'll often find that briquettes offer a good balance between cost and energy output, making them a popular choice for many. Next up, we'll briefly classify different fuels and touch on their characteristics. We've already covered a lot of ground in previous videos, but it's good to have a refresher. We'll be looking at things like wood, coal, and the various types of biomass fuels, comparing their calorific values and highlighting their pros and cons. For instance, wood is readily available in many regions, but its calorific value can vary significantly depending on the species of tree. Coal, on the other hand, has a higher calorific value but comes with environmental concerns. We'll explore these differences in detail. And finally, let's shift gears and talk about hydrogen. This is a fascinating fuel source with the potential to revolutionize many industries. Hydrogen itself has an incredibly high calorific value, making it a very energy-dense fuel. However, the challenge lies in its storage. Storing hydrogen efficiently and safely is a major hurdle that researchers are actively working to overcome. There are various methods being explored, from high-pressure tanks to cryogenic storage. But once we crack the storage problem, hydrogen could become a game-changer, particularly in the automotive sector. Imagine cars powered by hydrogen, clean, efficient, and with a potentially much longer range than current electric vehicles. The possibilities are truly exciting.